Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having an awesome day. So today what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be returning to some of my script writing roots and reading... Hello? Yes, I'm going to be returning to some of my old script writing roots and I'm going to be reading my old Wattpad story. I'm scared. So yes, I have dabbled into the world of Wattpad before and not proud of it. And no, I was not one of those people who wrote like fan fiction about their favorite celebrity. That is not me. But I wrote a fan fiction about a book series I was reading at the time called the Ranger's Apprentice series. And I was original with the title, and it is called Ranger's Conquest. And I was in 7th grade when I wrote this. I'm a junior in high school now, so it's been a minute. I hardly remember like any of the main story plot points because what I would do is I would sit in study hall and I would just have this random idea even though I would already have a plan for how the story would go. I was like, no, I'm gonna shoehorn that into the story that I'm trying to write. Doing that made my story have so many continuity issues and made for not a quite good story, but hey, makes for a good YouTube video. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up my laptop here and let me give you some of the deets about this. Okay, so it's called Ranger's Conquest. It currently has 539 reads, so half a thousand, not too bad. And the story currently has 46 parts. We love a script writing shishtar. As the Ranger Spike watches over the kingdom of Oskentire, I don't even know how to pronounce this. Is dispatched by King Griffin, that's a creative name, to investigate an unknown threat that could make the kingdom a forgotten memory. Through his journey, Spike encounters dangers at every corner, but will he make it out alive when the threat is closer to home than he thinks? So, my thoughts are this is pretty vague. So yeah, we're just gonna start reading part 1, and I'm scared. Okay, so part 1 is called What is a Ranger? Common folk have never truly learned what a ranger is. Some say they are necromancers of evil spirits, but in truth they are protectors. I literally straight took the narrative from the first book of the Ranger's Apprentice series and used it for mine because I'm original. Whenever the wearer wraps themselves fully in the cloak, they become practically invisible to stay hidden from enemies. Okay, so he's basically Harry Potter. Cool. Whoa! My d fell off! Their second weapon is their bow. A ranger's main... This story will be seeing the journey of the Ranger Spike. I did not capitalize his name. He is accompanied by his horse Kig, creative, and they both watch over the kingdom of Oskentire, which is ruled by King Griffin, and that is where the adventure begins. Okay, chapter 2. This is where the story actually starts. And it is called Riders on the Road. And the evergreen woods that lay on the outskirts of the kingdom was completely placid except for a very small cottage. Not many people knows what lives in this cottage. Rumor has it that it is an outwardly being lives there. Truth, the small home belongs to the Ranger Spike. Did not capitalize his name again. Great. Okay, so this is all just some exhibition stuff. I'm gonna skip ahead to the action scene that occurs later in this chapter because I am horrible at writing action scenes now. I cannot wait to see how I was at writing them how many years ago. I'm not good at math. It wasn't a winter breeze, more like a dark, unsettling breeze. He noticed Kig was uneasy, so he placed his hand on the horse's head to reassure him that it was safe. He then saw dark figures down the road about 800 feet away. Okay, this is where I have a problem. How can he tell how far is 800 feet? Like, that is a pretty specific measurement, okay? If being a ranger doesn't work out, he can be a math teacher. That's cool. He could make out that there were 6 riders armed with battle axes and swords. From 800 feet away, that is a really specific description. Climbed up the tree and had an arrow knocked in the bowstring. The riders were just about under him when he pulled back the string and let it fly. He struck an arrow right through the heart of one of the riders, but something didn't seem right. He saw that the rider's skin started to turn blue and looked as cold as ice. One of the men charged him out with a sword with an overhead swipe. Spike countered the move with a double knife defense, which is what... I'm actually decently surprised with how I wrote this action scene, even though it still is not impressive. So basically, without boring you to death, pretty much Spike killed all of the riders because they were trying to kill him, and every time he killed him, they turned into ice, and he was like, whoa, what the heck is this? Okay, so Spike starts searching in the backpacks of all the people that he just straight up murdered, and inside is a map, and he says, the first course is labeled Scouts, which means these riders are the Scouts, it states on the map. The second path that leads to the Great Outpost says, Army. Giant army coming to attack us. Whatever are we going to do? Once Spike was gone, two figures stepped out onto the road. One of them spoke to the other and stated, send word to Master. His trick was successful. And that's where chapter 2 ends. Continue reading the next part. Scared too, but yes. So basically, once again, a lot of exposition, a lot of description, which I'm actually kind of impressed because even I'm not descriptive with my script writing now. I was out on patrol and there were these riders that charged down the road. I saw that they were armed with swords and axes. Description is key. I thought it was just going to be a normal skirmish, but when I shot one of them with an arrow, the man somehow turned into ice right before my eyes. This map I found says that they are heading towards the Great Outpost, and I fear that the kingdom is in danger. And then the king says, Spike, if they have gone through the Great Outpost, then that could be an issue. I would like you to investigate this, but I do not want you going alone. I didn't mean it that way. I've applied for you to receive an apprentice. And as Spike starts to leave, the king says, wait, there's one more thing I should tell you about the apprentice. Your apprentice will arrive tonight, and your apprentice is a girl. Okay, so basically in this story, I basically made it to kind of take place in the same universe as the Ranger's Apprentice series. And as far as I read in the Ranger Apprentice books, there was no such thing as a female ranger, so the Rangers are sexist. So I'm gonna skip ahead because once again, exhibition. Basically, Spike gets his apprentice, her name is Blaze, and this whole story is one of the least favorite things I've ever written. I remember Blaze as writing her as like the most badass character I've ever wrote, and I actually really do like her character. Basically, they meet each other and they're like, okay, we're friends and stuff, cool, we're gonna work together, we're gonna go to this outpost thing and stop this army that's coming to kill us all. And then all of a sudden, Spike and Blaze hear this like loud screaming outside, they run outside, open the door, it's like really late at night and they hear nothing, and they notice that the grass outside their cabin is starting to turn into ice. And then Blaze says, I don't think this is a coincidence compared to what happened with the riders you mentioned earlier. And then Spike says, I agree. So they're like, okay, good night, nice to meet you, this is gonna be awesome, tomorrow we're gonna go stop this army. Cool. And then it says, outside the cabin in the thick brush, two figures are watching the house. Shall we kill them now? One of them says. No, not yet, but rest assured the ranger and his new apprentice shall fall. I think I'm gonna leave that there. So my thoughts about this story is, ew. First, because it is the first thing that I ever wrote, and again, continuity errors. And second of all, I'm a person who just generally hates to kind of look back at stuff that I used to make. Because whenever I look back at something that I've written in the past, all I do is I look at the errors, and I don't know why. There is actually one part of this story that I am super proud of, and that is just the reason I made it. Yeah, I would write random chapters at random times and not go along with the story at all, but also writing that made me start to understand that I want to be a filmmaker, I want to be a scriptwriter, that is what I want to do with my life. And wanting to be a filmmaker one day also made me realize that I would love to also do YouTube. So yeah, you can blame that mess of a story for why you're watching this video right now. I think I'm gonna leave it there for today. So that's gonna do it for today. I really hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. I really do appreciate it. It really helps me out a lot, and it lets you know whenever I post a new video. Also, make sure you comment if you want to see me do a part 2, and I will get on it as soon as possible. I have new fandom and film videos out every single Friday, and I'll see you guys in the next video.